Billy Hui on Drinks with MJ.
That's quite a good impression.
Could that be a good jingle?
Yeah, not too bad. I might keep that.
Cheers, Billy.
Cheers.
Welcome to Drinks with MJ. Big swig on the vodka. Oh, strong, innit?
Yeah.
How are you?
Not too bad, you know.
Yeah.
Busy as usual.
Busy.
Bad.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I've tracked you down. I've got you on.
Yes, it took a while, but I'm here.
But you're here. Like everything in life, it's worth going. Listen, we've had a laugh, haven't we?
We have.
How are you doing? How is life? Billy, you're doing everything.
I'm trying to do everything. I think the image of how busy I am is far worse than what it actually is. So, yeah, it's obviously doing radio, doing choir, and then all the bits in the background that
You're
people
a
don't see.
musical director. Hello.
Director, yeah, musical director.
You know the show. I want to take it straight back. You
Okay.
told me there's an interesting story how your mum and dad met.
They met here, actually on Victoria Road in Brighton, just down the road from where we are now. They came across separately from Hong Kong and China. So I'm first generation British born. They met here, so they didn't come across together.
Yeah.
Over in Hong Kong and China, they wouldn't have got together. They're from very different backgrounds.
Wow.
So my mum was from a shipping background. The whole family was from shipping. There's loads of kids. There's like 13 children.
Wow.
On the other side of the family. I had 12 aunties and uncles. And my dad was from sort of like I'm not going to say peasant. I've said it already. Peasant background. It's like a farming background, and it was seen as sort of like two different levels of society. So they wouldn't have, back in the day, they wouldn't have got together. But when they came across here looking for work, looking for jobs back in the 60s, it was level pegging, you know. And so they met, and then I popped onto the scene as first generation British born Chinese.
That is incredible. So do you ever talk about that and think like we wouldn't have not have met each other if we didn't come to the other side of the world and, you know, change our lives? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave thing to do. I mean, they were only young, really, and to say, right, they're going to literally uproot, go to by themselves to another side of the world, and then just start, you know, a life. I mean, it's an old story. I don't know whether it's the same story for a lot of people that came from other countries, but my dad literally had, like, back in the day, £5 in his pocket. It was a lot then, but he was amazed by certain things that he saw. Like in one of the first buildings he saw was the Liver building, and they had offices to let and had big signs outside, sort of offices to let. And my dad's English wasn't that good then, and he thought, oh my God, the toilets are massive, because he read it wrong, and he thought it was a toilet block, the Liver building. And too much to drink, so. And he was just amazed at sort of like, you know, running water and stuff like that all the time, because he was from a farming background. Yeah. In Hong Kong it was different. He did move down to Hong Kong, sort of like, you know, when he was a little bit younger, and that's different there. It's more cosmopolitan in Hong Kong. It was very Western, but even nowadays it's very, very Western. Yeah. Because it's part of the British Empire. From back in the 1800s, so it was. We'll get to
that soon.
Okay, right.
You started out at hospital radio when you were 14.
How did you know about that? I did, yes. I was 14. It
14?
Was Countess of Chester Hospital Radio. It was called Radio Lion, and it was a porter cabin with the worst gear you've ever seen. We had to use. We were doing our jingles on cassette and queuing them up with a pencil, and it was literally a porter cabin that was quite cold sometimes. And that's when I started. It was 14. How? And it was just, my mate was already working there and said, are you interested in this? And I've always been interested in radio as a medium, even from when I was really, really young. I've got some old recordings of myself from when I was like 6 or 7, just messing around. Incredible. Recording myself, introducing records, you know, that sort of thing. When I was about 6 or 7, it's amazing actually listening back to those. And
have you still got them?
I've still got them. Whether I can find a cassette player to play them on is a different matter. But yeah, it was like always an interest of mine, radio. So it just pushed the right buttons. So I was actually into radio before I did the music, before I got into music. So I was 14, did that for a few years, quite a few years. And then the BBC got hold of me when I was 17 to come in and do driving some shows, basically something you sit there and you just push the buttons and just drive the shows. And then it moved on to a couple of interviews, and then it moved on to presenting, and that's how that all sort of like got started.
What would you tell yourself, Billy, when you started out when you were 14 to now? What advice would you give yourself in your career? What you know now?
Do you know what? It's like, I think I've been lucky that it's gone the right direction. I'm not too sure if I've even advised myself to do anything different, because I'm fairly happy where I am right now. And I think if I changed anything back in the day, then I think I wouldn't be where I am now. Yeah. I I went through some bad patches because I made some decisions that from the outside world where people would have thought, why are you making that decision? Certainly getting into an industry in radio and in entertainment and in music, it's not the easiest of paths to actually go down. And when I was 18, I actually had an unconditional offer to go into do dentistry, believe it or not, in Manchester University. I was in. And then at the last minute, I made a decision.
Pulled out.
And I said, I don't want to do that, I want to do music. I mean, my parents.
What gave you that fight, Bill? Because that is a real tenacious move. Like, to, you know what I mean? Your life could have been completely different.
It would have been different.
What gave you that motivation, that fire, that guts inside of you to go, no, I don't want to do that?
It was something. It's always been music and entertainment. Has always been a passion of mine. It's always been a passion since I was very, very young.
Yeah.
And I thought, do I want to go through life always regretting the fact that I didn't go down that path? And I thought, no, at 18, maybe it was a stupid decision. My dad still says to me, now go and get a proper job. You know, he still says go and get a proper job after all these years of sort of being in the industry. And so I made that decision. I thought, no, I want, and also it's a personality thing as well. And I wanted sort of like that instant gratification of sort of like, you know, because I didn't get a lot of attention when I was little. And I think it comes from that, where my parents were both working really hard. Right. I was just left there to do what I was, you know, playing by myself. And I think I wanted that instant gratification from being an entertainer. Where an audience says, that was really good, and they give you an applause. You don't have to wait till the end of the month or the end of the year before you get rewarded for what you've actually done.
So do you think that is your underlying motivation every single day, and does that play out into your adulthood as well?
Yeah, because I mean, entertainers all want to be loved. We're not sort of like, we may be shy people in private, but when it comes to it, we want to be loved, really.
Of course, that's why we do it. That's why we get up every day and do it.
We're brutally honest about it, you know, a little bit show-offs, a little bit sort of like saying, look at me, look what I can do. And it's just an extension of that, really. And I think at 18, I thought, no, I want to go down that path rather than, and I always joke about it, staring down people's mouths all day. And then I run a choir now, so I'm staring down people's mouths all day. So it's
somehow
it goes round. It comes.
So you just opened up to that. So sing me.
Yes.
How did all that come about, Billy Hui?
I came about. It was 8 years ago now.
Wow.
And so it's been running for 8 years, and it was just something I'd done a couple of little bits and pieces, MDing, you know, doing musical direction for other choirs. And then an opportunity came up where a small group of people came to me and says, listen, we want to start just a little singing group on a Thursday night. And we'll just pay your expenses. Oh, I'm not doing anything on Thursday nights anyway, so I'll run this little group.
Wow.
And that was one group in Bebbington, 8 people, and then not long after that, people started joining, then people from other areas started saying, can you run one of those, you know, here? And before you knew it, and within that first year, I was running 3 groups around the local area.
Wow.
And then nowadays, there's just shy of 300 people across 7 groups in the Merseyside and Chester area, and 150 performances a year, and raising, we're a business, but we do lots of charity, and we raised £250,000.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is amazing.
£250,000
Big
each year.
swig on the £250,000.
Yeah, so I'll give it a go.
Down it. By the way,
yes.
I can't let that slide.
Okay.
I was going to courtesy when you sat down.
Right, okay.
You met the Queen.
I have.
Come on, tell me all about it.
Right, so it's
do you know me and the Queen have the same birthday, the 21st of April?
Well, there you
so
go.
You can curse it.
I'll bow in a minute.
Thank you very much. Go for it.
Yep, so we raised £250,000, £250,000 each year on average, on a normal year, for our charities. And we got recognised for that. We said that we go around doing this and we support local charities as much as we can. So if it's a national charity association, we try and get the money to the local office as much as we can. And we got recognised. It was a couple of our choir members plus people from the outside that were connected to us that wrote off and did an application. And they only put one. It's not like a group. You don't get medals for groups. It's for individuals. Okay. So they had to put my name on it. So they put my name on it, and it came back. And
not a bad thing, is it?
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But it's a British Empire medal that I was awarded from the Queen. And at first, when the letter came through, I thought it was a scam.
Did you thought it was a hoax?
Well, of course, because you get this letter through. And I thought, it's on nice paper, but I thought, the next thing you know, there'll be an African prince somewhere.
Or some
money
or an email.
or something. I thought, what's it? So I checked it out, and they said, no, it's real, this. And I thought, really, it's real. I said, is it sort of like I've got to wait for the results of what? Listen, no, you've got it. That means you've got it.
Wow.
And I didn't believe it. So it was New Year's Honours 2021, British Empire Medal, but it was in the middle of the lockdown, wasn't it? The pandemic and the lockdown.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a normal process of doing it. So what happened was it was like split into sort of like 3 different things. So I received the medal locally. It was in the town hall.
Did you have to do that on the knee with the sword?
No, that's a knighthood.
Okay.
I've got to wait maybe a few years for that.
That's in the next post. That's for Christmas.
So received a medal, which I should have worn that actually. I should have brought that today. And so I've got a medal, which is the British Empire Medal,
Wow.
for services to the people of Merseyside and our surrounding areas. So I received that from the Lord Lieutenant of Merseyside locally in Liverpool Town Hall. It was great. I got more family there, and the little son was there. It was absolutely fantastic day. And then after that, a few months down the line, I met the Queen. So it was all separated out, and I met her in Manchester Cathedral because it was its 600th year, and it was an opportunity for people that had received medals to go and meet the Queen.
Wow.
So I went there, and she was actually visiting the set of Coronation Street, so there was an anniversary for them as well. But she didn't spend that much time there, and she came up, and so we had loads of time with
You had a
her.
little chin wag with the Queen?
Yeah, it was like for about 2-3 minutes, which is
How
sort of
did
like,
you feel in that moment?
it was surreal. I thought, is this really happening? Because, you know, the Queen, everybody knows the Queen the world over. And there I am, having a little chat about, without the vodka of course, having a little chat about, you know, the choir, about
Amazing.
working through the pandemic, and about, and you know, I can't really say much
She
more
really
than that.
did you?
Well,
Is she really petite?
well, she is, because if you see the photos, I'm not exactly like a 6-footer, so she was smaller than me, but it was just wonderful to be able to actually chat. And she does say something, because you could hear what she was saying to other people in the lineup, and it was something different, you know, to every person. She knew what was, you know,
Incredible.
something different. And then the third thing connected with all of that was a garden party at Buckingham Palace just before the Jubilee. That was fabulous. It was a great day. It was lovely weather.
Wow.
Went there, and it's not often you get a chance to actually get onto Palace grounds.
Amazing.
And the Queen wasn't there that day, but Edward was there. Edward and Sophie and Kate
Oh, wow.
were there, so that was really, really nice. Sort of like to see them there as well. And I managed to get some afternoon tea.
Did you ever think, Billy, what you came from? All the adversity, all the struggle, all the self-confidence, the self-doubt, because I know in your early days you were riddled in self-doubt.
Of course.
I feel like we all are, you know, I feel like
Yeah.
we're the old collection sometimes between us. Did you ever think you'd achieve what you've achieved? You know, being acknowledged, being by the Queen, achieved being a musical director. Did you believe that sometimes? You'd have to pinch yourself.
Well, yeah, of course. I pinch myself because I'm just doing. I always say this. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm just going around doing. I wasn't aiming sort of. One day I want to go and meet the Queen, or one day I want to receive a medal. One day I want to go and do it. It was never about that.
Yeah.
It was always about. Well, certainly with the choir, it was the passion for running the choir and supporting charities, getting people to sing. And then within that as well, certainly during the lockdown, was keeping everybody together because we were doing stuff online. And it's that's the passion, that's where my heart lies, about supporting people and keeping people together and providing the way of sort of like people to have, you know, moral support and social support for themselves. But yeah, during the lockdown it was onto Zoom, 13 sessions a week on Zoom,
Oh my.
sort of like so makeshift studio in the house. And however many people I could fit on a couple of screens for Zoom. So that got us through.
What kept your motivation burning through?
Well, I thought if I didn't do that, I could have quite easily gone, right, okay, just furlough everybody who was working and that's it. But then by the end of it, how many choir members would be left to carry on? And I thought there's going to be nobody left. But also, on top of that, I just wanted to keep everybody together because it's a family really. And we go on our adventures doing the singing, travelling around. We travel around the world. We're on cruise liners. We perform abroad. And, you know, it's a big social aspect to the choir as well. It's not just about the singing. You know, if we've got a daytime gig, it will be a couple of drinks, maybe a couple of vodkas by the end of it. You know, the best example I can give of that is we did an afternoon performance in Liverpool, but I think I finished at 2 o'clock. And then the hardcore of us rolled in at 4 in the morning. And we're a choir.
Cheers to that.
We don't have that sort of image. We have a very clean-cut image.
Clean cut image, and then, you know, till 4 o'clock in the morning, stumbling in, ended up in a kebab, with the kebab in the skin.
Maybe. Maybe.
What is next, Billy?
Yes.
By the way, I was on your show a while ago.
You were.
It was really so much fun. It was amazing.
It is
You've
good.
doubled figures. Hello.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It feels great. It's like you can see sort of like the interaction of the listeners, and it's just absolutely fantastic to be able to sort of like, you know, achieve that with the show on BBC Radio Merseyside as well.
Fantastic.
It's just lovely, and then have lovely guests on as well, like you.
Oh, thank you.
It was just lovely having you on.
Thank you very
and then
much.
talking about all the stuff that you do as well. And I've got a real focus on things that are all local, whether it's a local musician, somebody who's something coming, somebody that's made it, somebody that's doing something a bit different. So it's just wonderful to be able to sort of
It's
like...
so important, especially in this day and age. Billy, my drink's empty. That's not a good sign, is it? I'll have to refill.
Okay.
Billy, you've been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having drinks with MJ.
Thank you.
Down it, down it.